if you're new to this, or you're thinking, oh, this might work really well for our regional network, then you might want to note some things down, pass some things on. Should be really helpful. Over to you, Ed.
Brilliant. So for those that know me, I'm Ed. I'm Assistant Team Manager for Schools Engagement at Chester Zoo. Unfortunately, I'm in my kitchen at the moment, not in Chester Zoo. Sorry to disappoint you. But we have started the Chester Schools Sustainability Network. We launched in January. We're quite unique, I think, within the schools network at the moment by the fact that we are run not by a teacher in a school or a hub school or a council. We are instead run by an NGO. But we, as Chester Zoo, we have an empowerment target to empower 10 million people to live more sustainably by 2031, which is quite a big ask. But we believe that young people can be a massive part of this. And we have very good connections with schools in the local area. So we began the network by reaching out to head teachers. We went straight to the head teachers in the area rather than anyone else in the school, because what we wanted to guarantee was buy-in from above. We wanted to make sure that there was buy-in from the senior leadership team. And so in that case, we went straight to their teachers and we worked with the ones that got back to us. We made sure that they put forward a member of staff who would be our lead contact, that would then help nominate the relevant students in that case. And we started off with 2 student reps and 2 observers to begin with. We've sort of ended up evolving with them all being student reps while we're in the first phase of this. And then I think observers will come in a little bit later, probably once we've got some experienced reps. I did have one slide I wanted to very quickly show you. I know we've only got 3 minutes per organisation, but just thought I'd show you some baby animals in the zoo, which is always a highlight for everybody. So we've got our baby tiger over here. We've had 2 baby tigers, 2 twins that were born in January. And we've also just had a baby anteater as well, which is the one on the left, which is always nice to show people. That's very exciting. The thing which is incredibly exciting, however, is the thing in the middle, which is our logo. So this was our sort of opening task, really, for our students. While they were still getting established on the network, we wanted to make sure that they did a little bit of thinking about how they wanted to shape the network. We do have a graphic design team in the zoo who could have developed a lovely logo, but we wanted to make it student-led. So we set an apprentice-style task, basically, of design a logo, let them vote on the logo, and we were delighted with the one which won. I think something which hopefully we can bring as an NGO into this, I suppose, is staff time. So in my role as assistant manager, this is now part of my role at the zoo, is hosting the Chester School Sustainability Network. So it is part of my paid role, not my entire role, unfortunately, but it is something which I can dedicate some time to within my role. Hopefully I'll be able to get some of our other staff involved as well. And we've got people within the zoo who can give interesting talks, and we've got our connections outside the zoo as well. So hopefully that's just giving you a bit of an introduction to where we are with Chester SSN. Hopefully as we move into later terms and into another year, we'll start appointing representatives onto UKSSN, and you'll see more involvement from us as we go along.
Amazing, thank you, Ed. It's so good to have that example of a zoo. I just think it's brilliant. And if any of you are near a sort of similar organisation, and maybe you can ask them to help, and maybe they can find someone who could absorb it as part of their role, like for Ed. So we're going to now, I'm going to see if Wendy's happy to go. I know she's fresh from their network launch. So is that okay with you, Wendy?
Yes, indeed. I'm just about live. So
brilliant.
Yeah,
okay.
So we've had 80 people turn up, not all schools, various different organisations, and some people coming in twos. I don't know how everyone's done it previously, but we hired the local, well, we didn't hire, I kind of managed to get the local town hall. and we've had a local caterers in and a few different things like that. So we've got a lovely venue. So we had quite a few schools sign up originally, a few pulled out. Obviously, it's the school strike today, so we had a little bit of a worry about that. But yeah, everything has been received really positively. We're lucky to have John from the Liverpool or the Merseyside network help launch it with me. So he brought 2 of his visually impaired students along as well. So that really set the tone for this. And we had a little bit of a mantra, if we can do it, so can you, sort of thing, going through, permeating the day. So I'm hoping there'll be lots of sign-ups, lots of enthusiastic teachers, a notable amount of primary schools there as well as secondary schools. So we'll be directing them to the primary lead. A few business managers popped along with the teachers as well, because especially when the schools were closed, which was nice to see them being proactive on a day like that. So that worked nicely. And a few governors came along as well. So it was a real mixed bag of people, quite a few head teachers. And we'd spent a lot of time trying to market these people. It has come across quite profoundly that it's really difficult to get to schools and certainly get to the right teachers. So we'll continue the quest. A lot of excitement and a lot of positivity. So thank you for the support that you've given me so far to do this, and the future looks quite bright.
Super. Oh, I'm glad it went well. And you had the hot pies, right?
We did, and they were hot.
Yay.
Yes.
Yes. I know there was a thing about with the town hall and whether they put the ovens on.
Oh, it was a high gate at one point. So yeah, we even went as far as buying some mushy peas through more than a dish there. So there's lots of photos to follow. I've just not managed to circulate anything yet.
Beautiful. So that's the Northwest Network. So critical region of the UK there, and we are spreading north, which is great. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I'm getting. I don't know if people are getting feedback. And I think the precedent there is targeting senior leaders, governors, trying to get them in. But otherwise, it is really difficult to, get the time and get the recognition for this. So that's really, really useful, and having a beautiful venue as well, like the it's helpful, I think. Super. Okay, so next, I'm hoping that Hazel might be happy to stay from Northumberland. We're doing a great tour around the country here.
Hi everyone. I work for Northumberland County Council. I think I don't know if we're the only, but definitely one of the first councils that's kind of got on board with the UKSSN, which is really exciting. And the kind of reasoning behind it is that we had a connection with a teacher that's been really spearheading sustainability in their schools, and she linked us up with Jess. And so we're coming from it from a slightly different kind of point of view. There are some, positives in the fact that we can really support and facilitate where teachers would have to take on additional admin jobs for getting a network going. And I think we're really keen to try and ease that burden as much as possible. But on the other side of that is really thinking about, what kind of pressures then we're putting on staff to be a part of it. And as a council, you're thinking about, or at least I'm thinking about, kind of austerity and how, for example, teachers seem to take on more and more without necessarily the support that they need, and we don't want to kind of push more on them. So it's kind of finding that balance in the middle. We started up hoping to set up a kind of student network with kind of senior school students, and that seemed to be quite challenging, but we got a lot of interest from we've got a 2-tiered and a 3-tiered system in Northumberland. So we've got lots of interest from first schools, primary schools and middle schools. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and actually thought, let's work with where the drive and passion is coming from, and see what we can do there. So we've had our first meeting with our kind of middle school down, which is with the teachers there, and thinking about putting on a kind of switch off day and linking that in the summer term with the great big green week, and potentially with sports days or with kind of forest school days, things like that, when you're out of the classroom, outside, being active, hopefully in nature, and then trying to see if we can measure the impact that has across our schools in terms of energy reduction on those days, so we can really kind of see the impact that students coming together and their schools coming together across Northumberland is going to have. So that's where we're going now, and it's not to say that we won't have a student network going forwards, but we thought we'll start where there's that drive and will to do something, and hopefully by that spread that kind of passion outwards and shout about it. And that's another fantastic thing about connecting maybe with your council, is that we do have quite a few different communication channels with schools and also with the wider public. So even if it's not council run, it might be worth seeing if your council would be involved in some way, shape or form.
Super, more great tips. And I think definitely maybe a combination of a student and a member of staff contact the council. I imagine that could be quite persuasive. So yeah, thank you, Hazel, for all your efforts. I know it's been quite a lot of sort of setup, and but it's I think, yeah, working with Meryl as well, I think some great precedent. Okay, Meryl's the member of staff, teaching staff. So next up is Emma from Essex, if you're happy to say a few words.
Yeah, hi everybody. So I'm Emma. I'm an assistant head teacher from a primary school in Essex. Because I am primary based, it kind of sort of lent itself to our network mostly being primaries, although we do have one secondary in our network group at the moment, and I'm hoping to get more. And so the way I did it was more from a primary point of view at the moment, although I'm hoping that we'll get more secondaries on board so that we can have students coming to the network meetings. But what I've been doing is that we arrange times when we can meet during the school day, and we have our eco committees for each of our schools sat with us, and we have an agenda, what the children want to talk about and discuss, and it's led by the children's ideas and they vote on them. We've been able to create a logo. We planned a green week, which we had just before the Easter holidays, where the children came up with the ideas about what they wanted to do. And what was really nice is that my school and the secondary school that we have in our network group, because they're literally just around the corner from us, we did a joint litter pick together, and I'm hoping that that's the start of more projects that we can do together with them as well. In terms of, I guess, guidance for what to do, I think it's about really bringing across your passion for the cause. I think head teachers will respond well to that, but also inspire others with your ideas. If you can show that, oh look, I've done this, it shows that you can do it, even with all the other constraints that you have within your school, and you know, with the data you have to meet and all of those things. If you show, well, actually you can do that, and it's about networking, like the others have said, not just with schools but with other organisations, with local councils. We're linked up with Essex County Council, with the multi-school council that we have there, and it was just sheer fluke that they happened to be doing something similar to UKSSN, and I was like, wait, I'm trying to do this, and we joined forces. And I've reached out to other local councils that I know are interested too, and hopefully they're going to get involved as well. And also just do your research, because there's a lot of projects out there, and making those links and going, oh, that would work well with what we're doing. And I've reached out to so many people over the last few years, and it's just kind of like about bringing them together. There's a lot going on, and I think we're all on the same page, and it's just, all about bringing everybody together. So don't give up, just keep trying and keep persevering, and you'll get there.
Super, more wise words. And I just love the primary secondary thing. And in the very early days with the London network, we did that with some art workshops, and it was just, it just happened sort of naturally that they worked together. and both sides, the older and the younger ones, love it. Now, I've asked Pim if she doesn't mind saying a few words about the Avon Network, because I think Tom had to head off, but no pressure, Pim, if you'd rather not. But if you did want to say something, that would be amazing.
Thanks, Jess. I can say a few things about the Avon Network. I wasn't sure exactly what Tom was going to say, but off the top of my head, some of the things I think have really worked for us is that partly we're made up of students both of private and state schools, which I think makes a really interesting mix of ideas. And yeah, I think it gets students to really see different perspectives, which I think is great. And also have access to lots of different facilities as well, because students from state schools might not necessarily have the same facilities as students from private schools. So we end up kind of sharing that kind of knowledge. And we also have been starting our primary network, which has been great. And I think one of the biggest things out of that is that we've taken students from the secondary school network and taken them into the primary school network events, which are all in person. And it really shows the younger kids these kind of role models that they can relate to and look up to. But at the same time, it's also for us, for the secondary school kids, a way of cross-pollination of knowledge as well, because a lot of primary school kids actually know a lot as well and have a very interesting different perspective on lots of the different topics we talk about. I think another thing which we've been particularly focusing on in the past year is doing projects that are more, I would say, towards the media arts kind of direction. And we've had a big focus on creating content, but also we've had a lot of in-person intergenerational events, which is linked to things like arts, but also in the climate, which means that it can actually be very open to anyone, whether they're super interested and knowledgeable or just wants to tag along with the family. So I think that's been really great as well, that we've been trying to break out of our own echo chamber, because we realized that within our schools ourselves, a lot of the eco teams are already doing quite a lot. But yeah, that's off the top of my head. I would say another thing is that Tom is really great at doing is just talking to as many people as possible, and going to spaces which you might not necessarily think students would be in. So we've been to like business conferences and spoken to sustainable businesses and things like that. So I think also going into those spaces and speaking to as many people as possible, even if you don't see a possible kind of project right away, but that's also been really great in that sense. Yeah, sorry if I was rambling on a bit. I did was a bit on the spot, but yeah,
No,
that's what I can think of.
I sprung that upon you, so you did brilliantly. That was really, really useful and added more points to what we'd already had, so thank you, Pim. And to mention that Tom is a freelance environmental educator, so he also has that kind of freedom that I guess some school staff don't have, but in terms of sort of contacts and just a bit of time and space. I'm not saying he has lots of time, he wouldn't like me to say that, but more sort of a flexibility maybe.